What's up, everyone? Wood here. Today, well, as you can tell, it's not World War II anymore. Obviously, I'm doing a Civil War look. The look you're looking at right now is the 79th New York Highlanders. 79th New York Highlanders was created in May of 1861, mainly from the New York City and also the upper parts of New York. So, places like Saratoga, New York, a couple hours, around Albany, places like that. And basically, this regiment was formed with the idea of having them kind of look like the Gordon's Highlanders or some other kind of British Scottish Highlander regiment during like the mid 1850s into the 1860s. The 79th New York Highlanders ended up fighting from basically the beginning of the Civil War all the way up until the very end of the war, being eventually mustered out in May of 1865 after almost 5 years of complete combat. They basically saw every major action in the very beginning of the war until at about 1863 when they were sent down to sent down to the Mississippi River Basin area, where they would later fight from there all the way up until the siege of Petersburg and obviously the eventual end of the Civil War. Some major fights these guys were in were first Bull Run. They actually sustained the bloodiest or heaviest and bloodiest casualties out of both sides of the army that morning during the Battle of Bull Run. They actually suffered more casualties than any regiment in the Union Army, and again, suffered terribly at first Bull Run. But eventually they would survive the fight. They would be one of the last units off the field and eventually make their way to Washington, D.C., where they were actually made to create entrenchments around the city, with which a lot of the guys in the Highlanders said that there was, basically a mule's work, but eventually, they got used to it. And at some point around that time, they were also given the new blue uniforms. A lot of them started to get rid of this uniform, but obviously the Glengarrys and things like that, the Glengarry being the Scottish hat, was still kind of kept in the regiment. And they did trade a lot of their accoutrements and stuff with a regiment called the 8th Michigan, who they actually assimilated into their regiment, and they were called the Michie Highlanders, or just the Michigan Highlander Regiment. So a really cool unit history there. Eventually the unit made its way down to Charleston, South Carolina, where it fought at the Battle of Secessionville in 1862. Got completely repulsed, made a bloody charge after the 8th Michigan suffered terrible casualties at Secessionville, just outside of Charleston, South Carolina, and they suffered horribly. So anyway, the 79th New York Highlanders made 3 desperate charges to try and break into the fortifications at Secessionville, but they were also repulsed and unsuccessful. And eventually, they moved from Secessionville back north to Newport News, Virginia, where the regiment would kind of hang out, fight at the Battle of Chantilly, which was also fought in 1862. They fought at South Mountain, Antietam, Fredericksburg, and eventually after Fredericksburg campaign, they were sent down to the lower Mississippi to go fight down in what was known as the West, and try and break through to Vicksburg and to Petersburg and so on and so forth. But anyway, this is the uniform for the 79th New York Highlanders. It consists of a Glengarry. As y'all can tell, I'll get a little closer to the camera here. Here's the Glengarry with the New York State emblem, 79th Regiment. This is just a nice little crest piece that was put onto the hat. Pretty cool. The jacket I'm wearing is actually a Highlander, like high-cut shell jacket that was worn by them with a very interesting pattern. It's pretty cool. And obviously, as you can tell, on both sides. Obviously, eventually there would be rank put on both sides of the sleeves for whatever rank I was. I have an SNY State of New York belt buckle. I have a cap box, standard issue cap box. I also have a cartridge box with SNY on it. I don't like on my gear, on any of my Civil War gear that I wear, I don't like the cross breastplate. I think it's fucking annoying and it gets in the way, so I don't wear any of that shit. A lot of guys do. A lot of guys, I like to go for comfortability. Again, personal choice, that's me. Maybe eventually I'll get cross belt, you know, with the Union Army, regular Union Army emblem or United States emblem. But for now, no, that's not me. But anyway, continuing. So I'm wearing a pleated plaid kind of Cameroonian Highlander pants, which is actually pretty trippy. You know, I'll give you a shot there. That's what it looks like, and obviously my standard issue Brogans. But yeah, it's kind of a cool uniform, interesting uniform. You know, like you look at the Civil War and you go, really, like New York Highlanders, like what, like actual literal British Highlanders? You know, and again, here's a close up of the Glengarry. But yeah, you know, New York Highlanders, man, these guys fought hard in the Civil War. They definitely earned their battle stripes and stars. And you know, they were actually one of the most highly accredited units for the Army of the Potomac, and eventually the Army out west. So, you know, it's a really cool uniform. Obviously, I just have my standard issue canteen and haversack, this kind of stuff. You know, my socket bayonet scabbard, my bayonet. Now, the standard issue musket for this group was actually the 1853 Enfield. I don't have one, but if you check out Vermont Survivalist or Ordnance Sergeant in his videos, he has an 1853 three-band Enfield, and you can learn a little bit more about that Enfield. But for the most part, this regiment was issued 69 caliber smooth bore Enfields, and you know, they were probably accurate out to probably 100, 150 yards. Obviously, that being smooth bore. Eventually, the regiment mid to late 1863, maybe even early 1864, were issued with the 1853 Enfield, was shot a 58 caliber musket ball, or excuse me, .455 caliber musket ball, the British Army version of a musket ball, and that was their standard issue weapon all the way until the end of the war. Eventually, after the end of the war, 79th New York, like many other regiments, were disbanded and were no longer used or needed. So, you know, it didn't have a long unit history, but it had a pretty incredible one. Again, you know, 79th New York, you know, saw every major action based in the very beginning of the Civil War until the very middle, and then obviously they were moved to the West, where it was more of a lot of like quick hard knock battles, move on, move forward, until eventually they reached Petersburg. And again, we all know about Petersburg, you know, heavy entrenching fighting, basically a precursor to World War I or the Spanish-American War before that. So, you know, they're pretty cool. But anyway, guys, this is my 79th New York Highlander uniform. I'm sorry it's a quick video. You know, I ended up getting this uniform off a guy from England. His name is Tim. He's a really cool dude. I reached out to him one day because he was selling this kit. Actually, he had two sets of kits. So he had this jacket, and then he had another earlier model with gold epaulets, which, hold on one second and I'll show you. Actually, I ended up getting both sets of uniforms off of Tim. Really cool. Unfortunately, this jacket doesn't fit me. This one was made for his wife. The one I'm wearing was made for him, so obviously it fits my ass, but you know, this jacket was made for his wife, so it's pretty cool. So this is a 79th New York Highlander jacket, early war model. This is something that they would have worn at the very beginning and even pre-Civil War. Obviously, you can tell it's got metallic gold epaulets, and it's got some, you know, some little lace here to kind of make it, you know, look stand out-ish. You know, it's got a green collar, you know, on the inside. Really flashy jacket, very well made jacket. You know, super pumped, and I'm glad that I got this uniform. And also, it has the state of New York emblems on it, just like this jacket does too, state of New York. But yeah, I mean, that's the early war model jacket, and obviously this is late war. Well, I wouldn't say late war, but like kind of like later on, like guys getting rid of the shit because it just stuck out. But you know, for the most part, they just kind of kept the uniform the same. But you know, I really like this uniform. I think it's really cool, really flashy. It's really interesting, you know, to see again the Civil War. You see a lot of different uniforms, but this is one that I feel doesn't get enough credit or doesn't get, you know, touched on a lot. I mean, these guys fought hard, man. There were several Highlander units that fought in the Civil War. This one, the 79th New York, being one, and I believe the other one was like the 8th Illinois out of Illinois. Obviously, they fought at the Wilderness and got completely butchered. If you've never seen Civil War Combat, the TV show, you can find on YouTube, and you can actually watch a documentary called Shiloh, or it's like Blood and Fury Shiloh, something like that. Anyway, really cool documentary on Shiloh, and actually you'll see a Highlander regiment, you know, explain to you what happened to them at Shiloh during the Civil War in 1862. But anyway, guys, if you have any questions or anything like that, please hit me up. I mean, I'm always curious to learn myself. And I'm always asking questions no matter what it is I'm trying to learn. you know, if you like the uniform, please, you know, hey, say something like, hey, that's really cool, or hey, like that kind of weird looking, or whatever. Doesn't matter. Opinions don't matter to me, dude. Like, everybody's got one. Who gives a shit? But I'd love to know what yours is. Um, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. If you're thinking about it, definitely do. I'd appreciate it. It would definitely help me and help everybody else out in my little small community. And if you're new to my channel and you subscribe, hey, welcome to the tribe, man. You know, I'm part of a much bigger tribe. Obviously, you know, Ordnance Sergeant Vermont Survivalist, he's definitely part of it, as I'm part of his tribe. You know, if you haven't checked out his channel, Ordnance Sergeant or Vermont Survivalist, go check out his channels. He's got a lot of great content on it. He just made a World War II video for, obviously, yesterday being the anniversary, June 6, 1944, 77-year anniversary of D-Day, as well as the day before, June 5th, 1944, again, 77-year anniversary of D-Day. You know, definitely go check out his channel. Really, really cool, really smart dude. Fucking love the guy. He's one of my best friends. And again, please like and subscribe my videos. Definitely comments, guys. If you have a YouTube, or if you have a Facebook, or even a YouTube channel, or hell, even an Instagram, please hit me up. Wood072010. Definitely check me out. Also on Facebook, I'm Tristan Woodward. You can look me up. I'm in a photo with 3 good friends of mine, and you'll see a black truck behind us, and that's how you know it's me. Reach out to me there. Reach out to me there on Instagram. Yeah, I'd be greatly appreciated. You know, I love making new friends. I love, you know, speaking to fellow reenactors and, you know, hearing what they have to say, see what kind of kits they bring along. And if you have your own kit, let me see what it is, man. I'd love to check it out. So for now, and anyway, guys, you know, this is my video on the 79th New York Highlanders. I'm sorry it's not hugely in depth, but I mean, this is kind of all they really had. It's, you know, it's all I have. So, you know, I make the best with what I got. But for now, you know, this is Wood. This is my 79th New York Highlander kit. So anyway, guys, be safe, stay safe, and I'll catch you later. Wood out.